I'm an organic marketing strategist, and my screen time used to be something that I was super embarrassed about. And it was embarrassing not because I spent all that time building my business on my phone, but I was consistently stuck in this scrolling and spiraling cycle. And I'm sure you know the feeling. I'm sure you're familiar with it as well, where you open Instagram to post, you maybe see a competitor's post and you get distracted. Now you're comparing yourself to them, and then you're like, okay, I need to scroll for inspo because the post I had planned today isn't good enough. And so you spend hours scrolling only to feel like you haven't made any progress on your business. So instead of managing your business and scaling, you've managed to feel like a failure. Today, in this video, I'm going to be showing you my analog marketing system that I build for my clients and I use for my own business so that I don't have to be on my screen all day to grow a business using organic social media marketing. By the end of this video, you will know the three pillars that I include in every single marketing plan that I build for my clients so that their content actually converts. And we're going to be ending the video with another roast of the week where I take a look at one of my subscribers' content and I give them some tough love, but feedback that will definitely save their business. Let's go. The reason why you feel like you're stuck on your phone all day is because you have a posting schedule, but you don't have a strategy. If you actually had a strategy, you would know exactly what you need to post to sign a client, and therefore you wouldn't have to spend hours scrolling and looking for inspo and engaging with people, hoping those people would turn into followers, and then maybe you could start a DM conversation with them. You would just post your content and feel confident that it's doing the work for you behind the scenes while you go live your life. And I know you don't want to blend in. I know you want to be the go-to in your industry. I know you want to have a booked out calendar. I know you're really secretly envious of having a wait list of qualified leads that you can just plug into whenever you need to sign a new client. And none of those things are going to happen if you continue to create content based on what other people are posting. Instead, you need to have a marketing system that you can plug into for inspo, and you know exactly what your audience likes to hear. You know exactly what messaging lights them up and gets them to move, and you know exactly what stories you can tell to build trust and proof so that people buy. When I go to build out a marketing plan for my clients, it doesn't matter if you're in the art industry. I have a client who is an illustrator and she runs craft nights. It also doesn't matter if you're a coach or a done for you service provider. I have worked with them all. I've worked with mindset coaches, I've worked with virtual assistants, OBMs, bookkeepers. I don't care what you do, but if you're trying to market your business on social media, these three pillars are going to change your life. And these are not content pillars. Let me be clear. Think of these more as like different vaults that you can go to pull different pieces for your content so that you know it's going to reach the right people and convert for you. The first pillar is the spy factor messaging lens. And I actually filmed an entire video on my disruptor framework, which breaks down this part of the content piece, that if you're trying to create content that stops people from scrolling and positions you as the best choice for them to solve their problems, you're going to want to watch that video. I'll link it on the screen here. Let me explain what the spy factor messaging pillar is. What I need you to do is I need you to stop looking at your competitors for inspo and start looking at your own clients. I build out these call out lines for my clients that name the exact experience their people are having on a daily basis. If you can name what they're currently experiencing and why it's not actually serving them in a way that's better than they can even acknowledge themselves, you're going to win the client. For example, I could say something like, you think scrolling for inspo for at 2 p.m. is going to help you create better content, but I know that's actually helping you blend in. So when I create content that calls people out like that, you stop scrolling and you listen because you're like, oh, actually, I'm doing that. Whoops, what should I do instead? This kind of content really shows that you believe your audience is doing the best they can. They are trying, they are researching, they are taking action. A lot of people create content that makes people feel really down, like your website sucks and that's why you're not getting clients. That's not what we're doing here. We're saying what they're trying to do that they think is going to help them get better results, but is actually not getting them better results. And when you can do this, so specifically. Like, this is why I call it the spy factor. You will sign clients. This is your hook. It's the spy factor that makes them feel seen and makes them stop scrolling. But this is also the step that so many people skip in their business. They're just so excited to start creating content and get their business out there and start signing clients that they think, oh, I'll just create a really quick ideal client avatar. I know my person is in their 30s. I know that person is a coach, for example. I know that they have this goal. They want to make more money in their business or they want to have more free time. And they're like, okay, good enough. Let's start creating content. That is one of the biggest leaks that I have seen through all the clients. I've audited hundreds of people's content by now in the past 7 years of business. And almost every single person skips this step or has pretty vague messaging, which makes their content just blend in with everyone else. My recommendation is for you to spend as much time on this pillar as possible. And it's actually something that I go back to pretty much every single month, and I add more things in based on the conversations that I'm having with people in the DMs, the questions people are sending me, the conversations I'm having with my clients, because I know if people are asking me those questions, in the DMs, or my clients are asking me those questions on calls, I know other people are asking those questions as well. Or I know other people are having those same like doubts that are coming up as well. So I put that in my spy factor messaging category, and that helps me create content that's going to better call them out and stop their scroll. Next, we need the bridge. This is your story bank. Every client win, every process, every time you've gotten results, no matter how small or how big, it goes in this bank. And this is something that I do with my clients on a weekly basis because you're always getting ideas. Half the time, they don't even see the stories that I know is going to pay off for them. They're like, "Oh, I do this every single week with my clients on a call," or, "Oh, it's just another client call." And I'm like, "No, let's go through your client calls. Let's pull out, okay, my client was experiencing this. This is how I led them. My client had this fear. This is how I led them through it. My client's social media account dipped. Here's the strategy that I use to get them better results." If you're a social media manager, sometimes these things feel so lame. It's like you do this on a daily basis. It's not the giant win of they made $100,000 or they had a $60,000 lunch. It's like, oh, it's so big. It changed their life. Yes, those things are important, but also the little tiny minute ways that you impact your clients are just as valuable. And this is why I encourage so many people to do storytelling based marketing, because you don't need to have a giant story. Those little tiny instances are going to be the thing that's going to convince someone to join your offer. And so that's why it's great for beginners. You don't need to have had millions of clients, you don't have to have millions of results. We just need to focus on these tiny little tangible instances that we can weave into our content that positions you as the person that they need to have on their side if they want to get results. The reason why this works so well is because when you pair a spy factor hook with a story bank asset, you don't create content. It becomes plug and play. You have your messaging template, you have your story bank, and boom, you put them together. And that's a piece of content that builds trust with your audience. It positions you as the best choice. It calls in the right people. No more people that are like haggling for discounts. You're actually speaking to people that are like, oh, you get me, and I'm ready to do the work. And that's what makes content creation so much simpler, so that you don't have to feel like you have to scroll or engage with people for hours in order to get more leads for your business. Your content is doing the heavy lifting for you. The last thing that you need is a repeatable weekly flow. This is how you get your life back, because you're no longer opening up your laptop and you're like, what should I post today to get a client? Instead, when you actually have a plan that you know, okay, I'm going to take hook A from my spy factor pillar, use story B to back it up and prove that I actually have experience in this, then you don't really have to question what you're going to post each day. You already have the pieces, you just got to put it together, which also makes batching your content 100 times easier. I used to be somebody who couldn't batch content because I would sit down and be like, well, what the heck do I post? I don't have any ideas. This takes all the guesswork out of it, because now I just go, okay, I want to tell this story this week. Okay, I want to use this call out. This one's really inspiring me. And it takes all the thought process out of it, really. And then another important part of your weekly flow is having a day to review all of your data. Data helps you realize what your audience actually likes to see from you. For example, one of my clients, the art illustrator who is hosting those craft nights, we realized by looking at our data that her audience really liked when she used the spy factor hook, where she called them out by directly addressing them within the first 3 seconds of her voiceover. So now that we know this about her audience, what works for her audience, we're going to then use that to create the content that's going to convert better for her the following week. And I do this with my clients on a weekly basis because you never know how your audience shifts, what your audience likes, what you might discover. And you let the data tell you what to do instead of your brain having to think and plan and be like, oh my God, what do I do? And throw spaghetti at the wall. Your data is literally telling you, okay, do this, try this. And it takes so much pressure off of content creation. When you have a marketing system that works for you, you no longer need Inspo. Your Inspo lives in the plan. You talk to a client, you add it to the bank. You get a win, you add it to the bank. You spend 15 minutes a day assembling your content and the rest of your day hiking, skiing, actually living your life and serving your clients. That's the disruptor way. Okay, it's now time for the content roast of the week. It's the content roast of the week, and I'm so excited. Our volunteer today actually asked to be anonymous, and that's totally okay, but I will still be showing her content on the screen. So let's dive into it and let me give her some really actionable tips that she can implement right now to see more traction from her social media.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to the content roast of the week. This is my favorite thing to do on my channel. This person chose to stay anonymous, so we're going to honor her request, but I'm still going to be giving some really helpful feedback that she can use to get more leads and clients and customers for her business through organic social media marketing, specifically on Instagram. So this person is a design studio. Bio says empowers students through design education rooted in purpose, possibility, and real world opportunity. When I go and look at her content, if we're thinking about what we talked about today in a marketing plan, having that spy factor that makes you instantly feel called in and being like, whoa, this person is saying something that I need to listen to. And then having stories that back that claim up. I don't see that with her content. So, one thing I always say to my clients is if I were to stumble upon your post, I have no idea who you are. I have no background. I don't know anything about you. I'm just seeing your post. Would I be able to tell who you are, what you do, how you can help me? And the answer to that question from this post is absolutely not. And also, the other thing you want to think about is would somebody, if they were scrolling and saw this post, would this make them stop scrolling, want to read more, and actually listen to you? Most people, when they scroll, they're asking themselves, what's in it for me? Whether that is entertainment because they are bored and so they're looking for something funny or listen to someone talk about their day, a day in a life type of thing, or they are saying, what's in it for me? How is this going to solve a problem that I have? For example, this winter, I have struggled to stay consistent lifting in the gym because I want to do all the things. I want to hike, I want to ice skate, I want to cross country ski, I want to backcountry ski. I have so many different hobbies that I'm struggling to keep it consistent. And I actually found somebody on Instagram who said that exact thing. You want to do all the things, but you also want to stay consistent as an athlete. How do you do that? And she instantly roped me in because she called me out on something that am very aware of for myself. And I actually saw her post, looked at her profile, looked at her one-on-one application page, and almost decided to hire her. But I was like, okay, it was like 11 p.m. at night, and I wanted to like breathe for a second before I did that. But I almost hired her right then and there because she created a post that was so specific to me that I stopped scrolling and I was like, okay, tell me more. This post does not do that. If I was scrolling and I saw this, I'd be like, "What the heck is this?" And I would scroll on by. Sorry, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but that's the truth. And I also have no clue what this post is trying to tell me. So, okay, design concept, you have the sketch, and then you do the blueprint, and then you act the final project. Okay, cool. So, if I am trying to maybe get my artwork or design printed on socks or shirts or clothing or whatever, okay, now I'm starting to understand this. But that was not clear within 3 seconds of me finding this post, and so what's likely going to happen is people are going to scroll on by and keep scrolling. We need to make sure it's incredibly obvious from the first hit of the screen when we see your post to should I like, you have seconds, less than 3 seconds to capture someone's attention. How are you gonna do that? Is by having that spy factor. And then when we go to the caption here, just to be a little bit more constructive, she put some different hashtags. Now, Instagram has gone back and forth on hashtags, and honestly, you don't need them. They've said, like, okay, you can use 3 hashtags, but like in reality, it really doesn't do anything. Instead, what they're looking for are keywords. They're really trying to compete with competitors like YouTube and TikTok, which are based on more of like an search engine um, and so they're looking for SEO and keywords, which what that means is your first sentence should tell the readers or the viewers exactly what they're gonna get out of this post. So you could say something instead like how your design goes from concept to product in whatever, in 30 seconds or whatever your process is. That's going to immediately tell the search engine what you do, who you're trying to target, and then show your post to the right people. Then you say, in the industry, a designer's responsibility is to create designs from concept to completion each session. I'm already asking, what industry are you talking about? What designers? What and then you say, what does that mean? There are 4 stages to developing products. Stage 1, photo or proto, stage 2, pre-production, stage 3, top of product, and stage 4, bulk. This is what I'm educating my students on, and they are learning the skills they need to succeed in the industry. Again, what industry? Check out my portfolio and see my body of work in the past 25 years. So a way you can make this post so much better is by saying, um, if you want to turn ideas into a product, if you want to turn your design ideas into an actual product that you can sell, there are 4 different distinct stages that you need to go through. That's slide 1. Slide 2, give some backstory. Who are you talking to? What are they currently experiencing? Are they trying to skip steps? Use that spy factor that I broke down in this episode. Slide 3 could be stage 1. Slide 4 can be stage 2, and so on. So that way, the person who lands on it gets a full idea of what you do, how you're gonna help them, and why they need your support. Because just looking, I have scrolled through more posts than I am sharing in this content roast, but from your page, I have no idea what you do. I have no idea, and I'm also not a target audience, so maybe if I was a target audience, I would understand it more, but you want somebody who is like a middle schooler to look at your page and go, "Oh, this is exactly what they do." And I'm not a middle schooler and I don't understand, so I'm sure a middle schooler wouldn't understand as well.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got so much out of it. And if you did, please subscribe, please like, please leave a comment because I am creating this content for you. My goal is to help you understand how to create content that converts so that you can have the life of your dreams. You can travel, you can work with clients and be on your own schedule so that you don't have to answer to some man in a suit who tells you when you can take your day off or not. And if you like this video and you wanted to know how you can apply the marketing system to your own business, your own brand, send me a DM on Instagram and let's chat about your specific situation. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have or give you some more insight on what that would look like. Until next time, thank you for watching.